How it usually happened was I'd buy like half a quarter of base, like 3.5 grams. That's what I usually bought in one go. And I'd have a starter flight with like 1.5 grams hit, and I'd be cool. Be like, yeah, great. But then when I was on a speed, it wasn't the 10 or 12 hours of being up, of speeding I liked. It was a rush of injecting it, and that initial, when it hit you, and you could feel a change of going from where you were to up a notch. But when I was up there, I didn't used to enjoy that bit. So after half hour, an hour, like, oh, I'll just have another hit, like, so I feel that again. So basically I'd have another one, and I'd usually be cool off that one, you know. And then I think, well, I'll just finish it off now, half hour later, have that one. And it was then basically when I took too much of it in one go, the paranoia would just slam in, and straight away you're thinking you can see people by the window, or you can hear people talking, and I mean it's real. You know, you can hear it and you can see it. I was just as bad, or nearly as bad as when I was on the smack. The symptoms weren't as bad. You weren't waking up ill when you didn't have it, but you'd obviously have heavy come downs, which make you really irritable and angry.
I would have done anything to make his life better, if I could, because his life was hell. Of course, at the same time, didn't realise the impact it was having on me and on my family, because they were torn. They could see me deteriorating as well, because the impact is so great.
The worst bit about that portion of my life was that I'd learned how to inject, and I did a lot of damage to my body in that period, because learning how to inject, you can't actually inject, so you're having misses and you're wrecking your veins and you don't really know what you're doing.
Kev realised that his speed addiction was getting too much. With Christmas approaching and his paranoia getting out of control, he decided to give it up and make a clean break for the new year. Deep down, he knew this wasn't how life was meant to be.
So I basically just walked off it, but there was no physical symptoms. Like, you know, speed is just a mental addiction. You know, your physical problems come with using it and not coming off it. So it was quite easy to come off when I'd made that decision in my head. That's all it took, was that decision, and I could just come off it.
And then there would be the times where he would manage to come off it. And he'd start to look healthier and have a plan and a goal in life, and then it would go back again. You know, just when you thought that, right, this time I can think this is going to happen, it would be a huge slide back.
Kev was now 21 and had managed to come off the speed, but this clean spell was to be short-lived. At this time, Kev thought addiction was a physical problem and not a psychological one, so once you were off the drug, you were fine. However, this was not the case, and after the new year, he turned back to heroin. Previously, Kev had been too scared to try injecting heroin, but as he had now injected speed, he no longer had that fear.
So after I came off the speed, it was kind of left me with a hole in my life. What do I do now? Basically, I just wanted to try injecting it. I was really inquisitive on what injecting smack was like. I thought, well, I've managed to get off the heroin before, so you know, I know what it's all about now. I know that I can just have a bit, like people say, like 3 days on, 3 days off. And of course, I already knew how to inject. I hit it up, and I was just wasted, and I only hit up about half of what I had left. So off this 110 bag, I was stoned for about 2 or 3 days. And it was just like, whoa, what am I doing? You know, for a tenner, I can get wasted for 3 days. Do you know what I mean? That's cheaper than anything else to get off your face as much as this. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just do this for a bit. But of course, within 2 weeks, you're having to do a 10 bag is lasting you a couple of hours, like, you know, until it's wearing off. So you're doing like a couple of bags a day. And from there, it just snowballs really quickly. And like something that you think you've got control over, I didn't have any control over.